I'm currently at 70% in 8th grade. Last time we did this, I was at 69%. So the goal, of course, is to go up 1% each day. All right. So here we are at 70%, and we have 6 questions to do for the Master Challenge. It says, strengthen skills you've already practiced in just 6 questions. So that's going to be our aim for today. So before I hit start, I'm grabbing my notebook and a pen, okay, just in case I need to write down these questions. So I would encourage you, whenever you're doing your Master Challenge, grab a pen, grab a pencil, grab a piece of paper, just in case you need to write these things down. Make sure you also have a calculator close by. So let me do the same. Let me grab my calculator, right? So let's get started. This is the first question. It says, Melissa made 3 batches of oatmeal cookies. Her recipe calls for amounts of sugar in cups and flour in cups in the following ratios. So her first batch, remember she made 3 batches of cookies. Her first batch, she had 2 cups of sugar and she had 4.5 cups of flour. That was her first batch. Second batch, she had 3 cups of sugar and 6 3/4 cups of flour. And then for her third batch, she had 4 cups of sugar and 9 cups of flour. So the question is, what is the unit rate of change of flour with respect to sugar? That is, how much flour corresponds to 1 cup of sugar? All right, so the question, let's see. Okay, they want us to graph it as well. Okay, so let's do the first part first. The question is, well, how many cups of flour corresponds to 1 cup of sugar? Well, the easiest way to do that is to divide the cups of flour by the cups of sugar. Okay, so if we divide 9 by 4, we get 2.25, which means that for every cup of sugar that we used 2.25 cups of flour. Okay, and let's check if it's true, right? So for batch 1, she used 2 cups of sugar. So if we multiply 2 times 2.25, we get 4.5 or 4.5. Okay, so that unit rate of change is correct for batch 1. Let's see if it's correct for batch 2. 3 times 2.25 is equal to 6.75, which is 6 3/4. So that's also correct. And 4 times 2.25 is equal to 9. So the unit rate of change is 2.25, which means how much flour corresponds to 1 cup of sugar? 2.25 cups of flour. Okay, so I'll put 2.25. All right, now they say graph the proportional relationship described above, with the x coordinate representing cups of flour and the y coordinate representing cups of sugar. So basically we're graphing the points here. Okay, well, how do we do that? Well, it says here the x coordinate represents cups of flour. Well, no, cups of sugar. So let's put in the cups of sugar on the x coordinate. So we have 2, 3, and 4. So we have 2, 3, and 4. So we know here 2, 3, and 4. But let's see. When we're at 2 corresponds with what? 4.5 cups of flour. So it should be 4.5 right there. So 2 cups of sugar, 4.5 cups of flour. Okay. Now what about the last one? 4 cups of sugar, 9 cups of flour. Okay, so 4 cups of sugar corresponds to 9 cups of flour. Right, so we're just lining up here those points. So 2 cups of sugar corresponds to 4.5 cups of flour, right? And 4 cups of sugar corresponds to 9 cups of flour. Okay, so that is the proportional relationship described there. All right, well, let's see if it's correct. Let's see what the answer is here. Let's see if they'll give us correct. Okay, so it is correct. So they did take the decimal, right? And again, we got 2.25 by dividing 9 by 4, right? So for every cup of sugar, we had 2.25 cups of flour. And then we just used the lowest So batch 1 and the highest, batch 3, to graph for 2 points. There were only 2 dots. So we put the 2 cups of flour to 2 cups of sugar, to 4.5 cups of flour, and the 4 cups of sugar to 9 cups of flour to graph our proportional relationship. Okay, good. So that's question 1. Let's move to question 2. All right, question 2 says this. The diagram, so this diagram here, shows a right triangle and 3 squares. So you have 3 squares connecting at certain points to form a right triangle. Of course, it's called a right triangle because one angle is a right angle. Okay, a right angle here, of course, we know is 90 degrees. The area of the largest square is 55 units square. So this square here, the largest one, is 55 square units. What could be the areas of the smaller squares? Okay, so let me see if I can write this here. They said this is 55 square units. Okay, so that means this edge right here is 55 square units, right? That's what they're saying. All right, now the best way for you to answer this is to remember that when you're working with triangles, you're thinking about the Pythagorean theorem. No, it won't work. But the Pythagorean theorem says this. Let's see if I can write this. A square, well, the square isn't writing. A square plus B square equals C square. All right. Now C square, or C, is the longest side of your triangle. So that's 55. All right. So whatever we do, or 55, right? So whatever we do here, when we add these two numbers, it should give us 55. Okay, that's the idea. So whatever two numbers we add should give us 55. So let's look at our options. Okay, we have 3 options. If we add 12 and 43, do we get 55? 12 plus 43 equals 55. So that's definitely an answer. Okay, what about the others? 14 plus 40 gives us 54. So that's short of the 55 that we need. What about 16 and 37? 16 plus 37, that gives us 53. Okay, so the only answer that would be correct that satisfies our need for 55 would be A, 12 and 43. Okay, again, this equation is called the Pythagorean Theorem, right, or Pythagoras rule. It says A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, so the longest side squared should be equal to the 2 shortest side added together squared as well. All right, now let's see if this agrees with the answer they want from us. So let's check, and that's correct. Good. So the goal to keep in mind, right, the important thing to remember is when you're working with triangles, to know the formula A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, that's very, very important. All right, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so this question says, complete the missing value in the solution to the equation. Okay, now we know that when we're working with coordinates, the first number here is always going to be the x value. Okay, so that is the x, and what we're trying to find is the y value. Okay, so they've already given us the x value, which is 2. Now we're trying to find the y value. Well, how do we do that? Well, because they've given us the x value, wherever we see x in the equation, we're going to put 2. So y is equal to 2 times x, which is 2 plus 5. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. So y is equal to 4 plus 5. And of course, 4 plus 5 is 9. So y is equal to 9. Okay. So our answer here should be 9. The idea here is to substitute wherever you see x for 2. Right? So 2x is 2 times x, so it's 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 5 equals 9. All right, we'll check that. And that is correct. All right, so let's keep going. Okay, next question. Let me take this off. This question says, graph the line that represents a proportional relationship between y and x, where the unit rate of change of y with respect to f is 4/5. So with respect to x is 4/5. So basically they're saying y, let me put this back, the y is equal to 4 and the x is equal to 5. When they say y with respect to x, if they mention y first, the y is on top and the x is on the bottom. Okay, in other words, a change of unit 1, so a change of 1 unit in x corresponds to a change of 4/5 units in y. All right, so it says graph the line and write the equation of the line. So now we're looking at slope and slope-intercept formula. Okay, so we know what the slope is, right? It says the slope is 4/5. Okay, so if you remember, the equation for slope or the slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. M is the slope and b is your y-intercept. All right, so we know the slope. We know that the slope is 4/5. Okay, so that's what this is. So that we know. Okay, let me erase this part here. Okay, good. So we know the slope is 4/5. Okay, that we know. And the equation has to be in the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, and it's going to be y equals 4/5x plus some b, which is the y-intercept. So we'll need to find the y-intercept. Okay, so right now we have y is equal to 4/5x. Whenever we see a problem like this, okay,
It's my first answer.
the idea is to leave the y-intercept because they're saying they're not asking you for the y-intercept. Just leave it. Just put y equals 4/5x because that's what we had, but we put the -1. Okay. All right. So y equals 4/5x, and okay, try again. Oh, okay. One thing we didn't change. We gotta change our graph. We gotta put our 0 where it's supposed to be. All right. Okay. Now this one we did before. Remember? Okay. This one says the areas of the squares adjacent to two sides of a right angle triangle. So again, this is a right angle triangle. Okay. Are 32 units square and 32 units square. It says find the length x of the third side of the triangle. It's 8 here because this is square, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me write it out for you. So we said a square plus b square equals c square. Okay, a square is 32. B squared is 32. And we said that would be 64. But this is square. These are squared. Okay? So this is x squared. But they're asking us for x. Right? We need to find x, not x squared. So that means if x squared is 64, then what would x be? If x squared is 64, x would have to be equal to the square root of 64, and that's 8. Because 8 times 8 is 64. Now we already have the y value, We just need to find the x value. So wherever we see a y in the equation, we're going to put -4. So here we have 6x plus 7y, but y is -4. So we're going to put 7 times -4 is equal to 4x plus 4 times -4. Okay, because that's y. All right, so 7 times -4, 7 4s is 28, so that's -28. So 6x 28 is equal to 4x, 4 times 4 is 16, so this is -16 minus 16. So of course, we have to combine like terms. Okay, I'm going to bring the -28 over the equal sign and bring the +4 over the equal sign. So when it goes over, it becomes negative. The signs change. So 6x minus 4x is equal to a -16 plus 28. So the signs change for both numbers. 2x is equal to 12. If 2x is equal to 12, then x is equal to 12 divided by 2, which is equal to 6. So the answer here should be 6. So we hit check, and that's correct. All right, so we missed one. Well, we missed both. We missed one because we made a mistake. We put -1 when we shouldn't, and we missed the other one because we were rushing. All right, so that's on us. But we could have easily gotten 6 out of 6. All right, so let's show the summary. Okay, so we didn't level up in any skills. All right, when this happens to you, when you don't level up in any skills, do this next. When you hit done, find what's up next for you. So you're going to scroll through your grade level and find that blue sign, that blue line up next for you, and then hit continue. Okay, and then scroll again and find where it says, right, do this next, right? See right here, up next for you, and the start. It's highlighted for you. So again, it's to use a Pythagorean theorem to find perimeter. That's one question that we had gotten wrong there, Jeremiah. Okay, so that's what's up next for me. So again, when you're finished with your master challenge, if you haven't leveled up, do the up next for you. All the best.